Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Themeless Thursday for How to Roll Dice. I'm Josh, and as you can see, I am not in our normal recording area, and also Bryant is nowhere to be seen. I'm actually on the road in Minnesota, and there's something that we wanted to try this week a little different than what we normally do, which is to create a tutorial for an application that we discussed in one of our previous videos called mRPG, which is a mobile chat-based RPG app. So without any further delay, let me jump into it here. This is going to be my first time using a screen recording application on my phone, but it should function properly, hopefully. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and launch the application. And let me go ahead and start a new campaign. So if you look in the bottom right corner, there's a plus symbol. You're going to click on that. It's going to bring you to your new campaign screen. You're going to enter a new campaign, which is going to be called Testing, just for fun. Hit Create Campaign. And you can see it added to the list of active campaigns there. If you click on the actual campaign that was just created, it brings you to the blank texting screen or chat screen that you would normally use for the actual playing of the game. So on the bottom of the screen, you've got a standard text bar. If you look at the side of it, you'll see there's a logo there. That picture is me. So that's my actual user account picture. If I click that, I get this new sort of like options bar. And in that, you've got a book, which is for the GM. You've got dice, which is the dice roller sort of calculator part of the chat, although there are better ways to do that. I prefer to do that with macros, and I'll show that in a minute. And then there's this NPC box where you can actually generate new NPCs. So let me show you what some of these look like. So if I just type as myself, and once you've selected who you want to speak as, you can click the icon again to close. So if I speak as me, it comes out as a regular gray text box. Anybody speaking out of character or out of game will have a standard gray text box like that. If, however, I go back in and I select the book symbol and then I type, that shows up in a GM box, which has the little book symbol in the corner and is a solid black box. So you know when I'm speaking as me and when I'm speaking as the GM, which is pretty convenient and easy to toggle back and forth. If I select that text box there, the NPC text box, and I type in, let's call this NPC Bob, you can see that it now says NPC next to my text bar. And you can see that it's pink. I believe it automatically assigns a random color that hasn't been previously used for any NPC that you create. And if Bob says hello, you can now see that Bob has a white backgrounded box with pink outline and a pink NPC symbol showing that that's Bob. If I create another NPC and I call him, say, Fred, Fred now has a green NPC bubble. And if Fred says hello, you can see again, white background with the green border and green NPC bubble. So it's very clear and easy to distinguish when I'm speaking as me, when I'm speaking as the GM, and when I'm speaking as one of my created NPCs. Another nice thing is when you come in here to switch who you're speaking as, those NPCs that I've created are now listed above my options. So you never have to worry again about forgetting NPCs' names that you've created in the past. Like, oh God, what was the name of the blacksmith in the town? He was talking, he was working on the horseshoes. You never have to do that. You click on your, who do I want to speak in the voice of, and there's your NPCs automatically listed for you right there. It's also super convenient because when you're scrolling up through a conversation, I don't have enough conversation to scroll through right now, but as you're scrolling up and down in your chat box, it's easy to see things that are in and out of game. So it's easy to keep the conversation straight. If I select the name of the campaign up at the top of the screen, you get sort of the campaign settings menu. The first thing you would want to do when you create a campaign is select character sheet template. And this is sort of the how to build out your character sheet if you want to try to replicate a D&D character sheet or if you want to make one from scratch. I'm going to go with a very simple Fate character sheet. If you don't know Fate, feel free to check out our previous video on this application, which actually we went through a little bit about how the Fate system works. But basically it's just going to be super straightforward. So the first thing you want to do is hit Add New Section. And this is sort of the section of your character sheet that you're going to work within, not the specific field that you want your character to enter. We'll do that in a minute. So we'll call this section Profile. And this is going to be where your character specific details are, like name, race, stuff like that. We hit OK in the top corner, and you can see down the bottom there, we have a new section called Profile. If we select that section, you get some options here. One of them is Add Property. That's going to be the actual field that your characters are going to enter or fill in. So let's make one called Name, and you can see some options here. We can make it a text box, a text area, or a number. So I believe text is 25 characters, text area is like 250 characters, and number is a number. So let's do text box or text. And we're not going to assign it a default value. We're not going to give it a modifier badge, which is like a modifier for a stat, like in D&D. Strength has a modifier. Click OK in the top corner, and we can see now name is within the section named profile. Let's create a few more. Again, clicking on the profile, hitting add property, and let's make race also going to be a text field. And let's do one, let's just do age. And again, leave it as a text field, no default value, none of that. Hit OK, that's our profile section. Let's hit add new section again, and let's do a section called stats. Hit OK, you can see there's a stats section now. Going in there and hitting add properties, let's make one called strength, because why not? And let's make this a number, because strength is going to be a number value. Let's give it a default value as well. In Fate, the default value is 0, so hit 0, hit save. You can see it now has a default value of 0. Click OK in the top corner, and you can see that that new field has been added below or within the stats section. Let's create one more, and let's call it dexterity. And again, this is going to be a number. Let's give it a default value of 0. Actually, let's make this a little different so you can tell it apart. Default value of 2, which is not the default value in Fate, but that's fine. Click OK, and now you can see your two stats down there. Let's do one last section, and let's call it story. And this will be like your character's background story. Again, this isn't sticking necessarily to a true Fate character sheet. If you know what they look like, you know this isn't correct. But just for funsies. So if you click on the story section and click add property, and let's just call this backstory, and this will be your character's backstory. This is going to be a text area, because obviously you don't just want 25 characters, you don't just want a number, you need to write 2-3 sentences in there. It's not going to have a default value, and we'll click OK. And now you can see you've got a bit of a character sheet laid out down here at the bottom. You've got your profile section with three different properties in there, your stat section with 2 properties, and your story section with 1 property. If we click save, that is now the default character sheet for this campaign. If we go back, let's create a character. And this is a little unintuitive, but once you get the feel for it, it makes sense. So if you're GMing a game and you have friends added to your game, so again, if you look down here, you can see it says add member. If you click add member and you search for a friend that you know has an account, like Brian's account, Bobaflex, if I hit search, he comes up, there he is, I could add him. So once you add your friends in, they can't create their own characters without you first creating a blank character sheet and assigning it to them. So you go into create character, you can see it's picked a random color, you've got other colors you could choose from. You can also change that icon from that random like knight head to any image that you have on your phone, download a picture online, take a headshot of yourself, whatever you like. So let's just stick with let's do this teal color here. And let's just name this character, I don't know. We'll just call it, we'll call it Brian. No, it's a little confusing because he is the name of the actual person. Let's call it Uber, because that's what I took to get to my hotel. So we hit save. There's now a new character named Uber. It says NPC if you look to the side. That's because it's not assigned to any player. If you click on that character sheet, you can see there's some options in here. First off, you can see the actual character sheet down here is blank. Other than the 2 default values that we gave to those stats are listed. But the first thing you would do is you would hit where it says select assigned player, and obviously the only person in this game right now is me. But if you had other players in there, if Bryant was in this game, he would be listed. And you just want to click on that character, or that player I should say, and it assigns them that character. That just means they now have the ability to edit this character's character sheet. Otherwise, just the GM can edit. And even after you assign it to a player, the GM can still come in and edit the character sheet. Now if you go back, you can see that that character now says assigned to you, because it's assigned to me, but it would say the player's name. Going in and editing the character sheet, super easy. Click on the name field. We're going to call this character Uber. And hit save, and you can see the character's name is now Uber. Another nifty feature is coming up to where it says list of changes. If you click on that, you can see the most recent things were that this character was assigned to me, and that its name was changed to Uber. So you can always remember whether or not you've, oh, did I add that additional spell that I was supposed to gain last time I leveled? You can come into your list of changes and see whether or not you've actually done it. So I'm not going to go ahead and fill in race and age and all that. What I am going to do is I'm going to show you guys how speaking in character works. So if you come back to your character's chat window here, or the chat window for the game, and again you select that symbol next to the chat bar, you can see that that teal night skull for the character that we created, Uber, is there now. So if I type as that character, you can see that it comes up and the text box is fully filled in with that color. It's got the symbol that we gave him, which is that knight's helmet, and it has his name, Uber. You can tell characters apart from NPCs very easily that way, because not only do they have a different symbol, but their box is fully filled in with the color that they've selected as opposed to white with just a colored outline. So again, it makes scrolling through a conversation very easy to detect what's in-game, what's out of game, what's the NPC versus a player character versus the GM. The last thing I want to touch on, because I don't want this video to drag on too long, and I'm sure there's a ton more features that I could go into that I could mess around with, but just to save time, because this is just a basic tutorial, is to go and create some macros. So if you see here, there's the macros line with the hashtag symbol. You select that. You've got public and private. Public are created by the GM and anybody can use them. Private are created by any player or the GM for themselves, and those only work for that player. So I'm just going to make some publics. So if I go into public for a macro name, let's say we want to make rolling for strength a lot easier than actually going into the calculator, selecting what dice you need to roll, then trying to remember what your fate stat is, typing plus fate, your strength stat, so plus strength stat, and then rolling the dice. It's frustrating to do that every single time. So let's just create a macro that does it. Let's call it strength because that's what it's going to be. Or actually, to make this quick and easy, because that's the whole idea behind macros, let's just call it STR, which everybody knows is short for strength. In the actual macro value section, that's the formula for the macro. So the way that formulas work is you enclose the entire formula inside of double slashes. So you're going to open with slash slash, and then you enter in the dice that you want to roll. So it's 4DF, because capital F is the symbol of fate dice, and fate you always roll 4 dice. So 4DF plus, and now here we want to pull the value from the character sheet. And the way that you do that is you enter in colons, followed by the name of the property from the character sheet you want to pull. So we want to pull strength, and you can see it comes up there automatically. You click on that, it automatically puts in the closing colon for strength, and then you want to close the entire thing with 2 more slashes, so the whole formula is contained within a pair of double slashes. And we can come down here and we can test it. So if I roll it as Uber, this green teal knight symbol, and I hit test, we know his character sheet has a strength of 0 because that was the default value and we didn't change it. So 4DF, 4 fate dice, plus 0, give us a total result of 1. If I roll it as the GM or myself, here it's going to use a base value of 0, not because that's the default, but because it's sort of the null value. However, if I try to, and I'll show you that in chat, if I roll it as Uber, so now I come in here, did I hit save? I can't remember if I hit save. I didn't. Okay, real quick, let's just fix that. So macros, public, macro name, call it STR. We got slash slash 4DF plus open colon strength close colon backslash or slash slash. I don't know if they're backslash or forward slashes, and we'll hit save. You can see now there that's listed. That's a public macro that anybody can use. If we go back to the chat as my teal knight Uber, and I hit hashtag STR and then hashtag again to close. You can also just click it as it pops up for you, and you hit send. It's going to run that formula. If I accidentally ran it as myself, I am not a character. I'm an out-of-game person. So when it tries to pull the value of strength as part of that formula, it gets this like fail error. And so what you'll see is this. So if you see that, just realize that you don't have your character selected yet. You've selected. So just toggle over to your character and run it as them. You're good. That's macros, that's character creation, that's character sheet creation, that's campaign creation. That's pretty much everything you need to get going with the game. I also mentioned on how you add members, so you can add your friends to your group. It's a really great, really functional application, very streamlined, very easy to use, lots of customization. And I would recommend you give it a try. It's free, it's in the App Store. mRPG is the name of it. And let us know how you like it. And thanks for tuning in. This has been Themeless Thursday, How to Roll Dice. I'm Josh, and I and Bryant, who isn't here at the moment, we'll see you guys next week on Tabletop Tuesday, or possibly even this weekend for a live stream if we decide to stick with those. So I'll talk to you guys later.